Picture a British backyard in 1962. Rationing had only fully ended a few years earlier, money was tight, and the memory of Dig for Victory was still fresh in every family's mind. Out back, behind the washing line, almost every home had a vegetable patch, and many families also kept an allotment, a little rented strip of land where they grew enough potatoes, cabbages, and runner beans to genuinely feed the household through winter. But here's the thing, nobody tells you about those gardens. The tricks those families swore by would give a modern health and safety inspector a heart attack. They sprayed their plants with poisons, painted their sheds with chemicals that are banned today, and fed their soil with things you would never dream of touching now. And yet, a lot of it worked. Some of it worked brilliantly. So today we are digging up 25 of these old, dangerous British garden tricks, the ones that grew mountains of food on a shoestring. Some are genuinely risky, and we will tell you straight when to leave them in the past. But plenty of them are pure common sense gold that still works today and can save you a fortune. Let's get our hands dirty. Number 1. Chimney soot from the coal fire. Almost every home back then burned coal, which meant a chimney full of soot, and gardeners hated to waste it. They would sweep it up and sprinkle it around the base of cabbages, onions, and leeks. Soot contains a small amount of nitrogen, but its real job was as a barrier. Slugs and snails refused to crawl across the dry, gritty stuff, so a ring of soot kept the leaves intact. The catch? Fresh soot can be acidic and full of tar, so old-timers weathered it for months before using it. These days we would skip the soot and reach for a band of crushed eggshell or grit instead. The same idea, and none of the contaminants. Number 2. Comfrey tea, the smelliest fertilizer in Britain. If there was one plant the 1960s gardener treated like treasure, it was comfrey. They would cram the big leaves into a barrel, weigh them down, add a little water, and let the whole thing rot for a few weeks. What came out was a black, evil-smelling liquid, and it was packed with potassium, the exact nutrient tomatoes and beans crave for flowering and fruiting. Diluted with water until it looked like weak tea, it grew bumper crops for free. The only danger here is to your nose. This trick is still one of the best free fertilizers you can make, and you should absolutely steal it. Number 3. Nettle feed for leafy growth. Right next to the comfrey barrel sat the nettle barrel. Where comfrey was rich in potassium, stinging nettles brewed up a feed high in nitrogen, perfect for pushing leafy growth on cabbages, spinach, and young seedlings early in the season. Gardeners would harvest the nettles before they set seed, pack them down, and steep them the same way. The sting is the only hazard, and a pair of gloves handles that. Free, fast-acting, and right there growing wild in the hedgerow. Number 4. Gardener's Gold, diluted urine. We will just say it plainly. They used their own urine. Diluted heavily with water, roughly 1 part urine to 10 parts water, it is a surprisingly balanced source of nitrogen, and a brilliant activator to kickstart a slow compost heap. Allotment holders quietly kept a watering can in the shed for exactly this purpose. It sounds gross, but it is sterile when fresh and completely free, and a lot of gardeners today have quietly brought it back. Just keep it well diluted and away from anything you are about to harvest. Number 5. Wood and bonfire ash. Nothing got thrown away in those gardens, including the ashes from the autumn bonfire. Wood ash is loaded with potash, that same potassium that helps fruit and flowers form. Gardeners scattered it around gooseberries, apples, and tomatoes and worked it into the soil over winter. The danger was overdoing it. Ash is alkaline, so piling it on acid-loving plants like blueberries would stunt them. Used in moderation on the right plants, it is a free fertilizer that is still genuinely useful today. Just keep it dry until you use it, or the rain washes the goodness straight out. Number 6. The hotbed of fresh horse manure. This one is clever, bordering on genius. To get early lettuce, radishes, and even melons months ahead of the neighbors, gardeners dug a pit, packed it with fresh, steaming horse manure, covered it with a layer of soil, and built a glass frame on top. As the manure rotted, it generated real heat, enough to keep tender seedlings cozy through a frosty British spring. It was essentially a compost-powered heated greenhouse with zero electricity. The danger was the ammonia fumes and the sheer back-breaking labor, but the payoff was a harvest weeks before anyone else. Number 7. Double digging, or bastard trenching. Yes, that was the real term for it. To break up heavy soil and bury organic matter deep where roots could reach it, gardeners would dig a trench a full 2 spade depths down, fork over the bottom, pile in manure, and work backward across the whole plot. It was punishing physical work, and the genuine danger here was your back, not your health. Plenty of allotment veterans paid for it in old age. Modern no-dig gardening has largely replaced it, but if you've got rock-hard clay soil, a bit of deep digging still works wonders. Number 8. Glass cloches and Victorian bell jars. Long before plastic, the British gardener's secret weapon for an early crop was glass. They used cloches, little glass tents or domes, set over sussed-out rows of young plants to trap warmth and shield them from wind and frost. The original bell-shaped glass jars were beautiful and effective. The obvious danger was a garden full of breakable glass, and a stumble could mean a nasty cut. The principle is rock solid. Cover your early sowings with a clear barrier and you'll harvest sooner. Today we just use safer plastic or clear recycled glass bottles. Number 9. Paraffin heaters in the greenhouse. To keep their greenhouses frost-free and nurse tomato and cucumber plants through cold nights, families used small paraffin heaters and lamps. They threw off just enough warmth to save a crop from a killing frost. This is one of the genuinely dangerous ones, with open flames, fumes, and fire risk in a closed glass box, plus the carbon dioxide and moisture that could harm plants if ventilation was poor. It saved countless crops, but it also burned down more than a few greenhouses. Modern thermostatic electric heaters do the job far more safely. Number 10. Bordeaux mixture against blight. Potato and tomato blight could wipe out a family's entire winter food supply overnight, so gardeners fought back with Bordeaux mixture, a blue spray made from copper sulfate and lime. Sprayed on the leaves before the blight struck, the copper stopped the fungus from taking hold. It genuinely worked and was used for generations. The danger is the copper itself. It builds up in soil over time and is toxic in quantity, so its use is heavily restricted today. The lesson that still stands: protect blight-prone crops before the disease appears, not after. Number 11. Winter tar washes on fruit trees. Every winter, gardeners would scrub and spray their apple and pear trees with a tar oil wash. The idea was to smother overwintering aphid eggs, scale insects, and moss, while the tree was dormant and leafless. It left the bark gleaming and knocked out a whole season's worth of pests in one go. These harsh tar-based washes are no longer sold for home use because of how caustic and damaging they are. The underlying principle survives in gentler form. A winter cleanup of your fruit trees genuinely cuts down next year's pest problems. Number 12. Grease bands around the trunk. Here's a brilliantly simple one that's completely safe and still works. The winter moth lays its eggs in fruit trees, and the wingless females have to climb up the trunk to do it. So gardeners wrapped a sticky band of grease around each trunk in autumn, and the climbing moths got stuck before they could ever lay. No spray, no poison, just a physical trap that protected the entire crop. You can still buy grease bands today, and they remain one of the smartest low-tech tricks in the book. Number 13. Homemade nicotine sprays from tobacco. Now we're into the genuinely dangerous territory. To kill aphids and caterpillars, old-time gardeners would steep tobacco in water to make a nicotine spray. It worked because nicotine is a potent natural insecticide, but it is also a potent poison to humans and pets, easily absorbed through the skin. People did get sick from handling it. We're telling you this purely as history. This is one trick that absolutely belongs in the past, and homemade nicotine sprays were rightly banned. If you want to control aphids today, there are far safer options coming up on this list. Number 14. Derris dust. Sold in tins at every garden shop, Derris dust was the go-to insecticide for decades. It came from the root of a tropical plant and contained a compound called rotenone, which gardeners puffed over their cabbages and roses to kill beetles and caterpillars. Because it was natural, everyone assumed it was harmless. It wasn't. Rotenone is toxic to fish, has since been linked to health concerns, and was eventually pulled from sale. Another reminder that old-fashioned and natural don't automatically mean safe. Number 15. Soft soap spray for aphids. Here is the safe aphid solution the thrifty gardener actually relied on, and it costs almost nothing. A little soft soap, basically a mild liquid soap, dissolved in water and sprayed on infested leaves, coats soft-bodied pests like aphids and whitefly, and finishes them off without poisoning anything else. It was cheap, gentle, and effective. This one has stood the test of time completely. A weak solution of plain liquid soap and water is still one of the best first responses to an aphid invasion today. Number 16. Liming the soil with quicklime. British soil is often acidic, and many vegetables, especially the cabbage family, grow far better in sweeter limed ground. Gardeners spread lime every few years to raise the pH and unlock nutrients. The dangerous version was quicklime, a caustic material that reacts violently with water and can burn skin, eyes, and lungs. Handling it was genuinely hazardous. Today we use the far gentler garden lime, which does the same job safely. The principle is sound. Test your soil, and if it is too acidic, a dose of lime can transform your harvest. Number 17. Creosote on every shed and fence. That distinctive smell of an old British garden? Creosote. Gardeners painted it on sheds, fence posts, greenhouse staging, and seed boxes to stop the wood from rotting. It was incredibly effective. Treated wood could last decades. It is also a known carcinogen, and that is exactly why traditional creosote was banned for general public sale. The takeaway is not to use it. Protecting your wooden structures from rot saves you real money over the years. Modern water-based wood preservers do the job without the health risk. Number 18. Sulfur candles in the greenhouse. To wipe out lingering pests and diseases over winter, gardeners would seal up the empty greenhouse and burn a sulfur candle inside, fumigating the whole space with choking fumes. It sterilized the structure beautifully before the new season. The danger is obvious. Those fumes are not something you want to breathe, and you had to shut everything up tight and stay well away. The idea of an annual greenhouse cleanout is excellent. The method has thankfully been replaced by simply scrubbing everything down with hot soapy water. Number 19. Calomel dust against clubroot. Clubroot is a soil disease that deforms cabbage and cauliflower roots and can ruin a whole bed. onion fly maggots could destroy a row of onions. The old answer was calomel, a powder containing mercury, dusted into the planting holes. It worked, but mercury is a serious toxin that lingers in soil and the body, and it has long since been banned from gardens. We mention it as a cautionary tale. Some of the miracle cures of that era were genuinely poisonous. Today, crop rotation and resistant varieties are the safe way to beat clubroot. Number 20. Arsenical sprays on the orchard. Earlier in the century, and lingering into living memory, fruit growers used lead arsenate sprays to kill codling moth and other orchard pests. Arsenic and lead, two of the most notorious poisons there are, were sprayed straight onto food crops. It seems unthinkable now, and it was eventually banned as the dangers became undeniable. This is the most extreme example of how far the old by any means necessary attitude to growing food could go. The reassuring news is that none of this is necessary, then or now. Traps and barriers do the job. Number 21. The vegetable clamp. Without a freezer in most homes, how did a family keep potatoes, carrots, and turnips edible all winter? The clamp. They would pile the roots into a heap on a bed of straw, cover the whole mound with more straw, then seal it under a layer of soil, leaving a little twist of straw poking out as a chimney for ventilation. Inside, the crops stayed cool, dark, and frost-free for months. It is a completely safe, brilliant piece of old-world ingenuity. And if you grow a lot of root vegetables, a simple clamp still works exactly as well today. Number 22. Saving your own seed. Buying fresh seed every year was an expense many families simply skipped. Instead, they let a few of their best plants, such as beans, peas, tomatoes, and lettuce, go to seed, then collected, dried, and stored those seeds for next spring. Over the years, they ended up with varieties perfectly suited to their own patch of ground. The only risk was the occasional crop that did not come true, but the savings were enormous. Seed saving is having a real revival now, and it is one of the most satisfying money savers in gardening. Number 23. Coal ash and clinker on the paths. The clinker and ash left over from the coal fire did not go to waste either. Gardeners spread it on muddy paths to make them passable in wet weather, and used the gritty stuff as another slug barrier around precious plants. The downside was that coal ash can carry sulfur and other residues you would not want soaking into your vegetable beds, so the wise gardener kept it strictly on the pathways. A neat example of squeezing a second use out of something most people would simply bin. Number 24. Companion planting. Onions and carrots. Carrot fly was the bane of every British vegetable plot, homing in on the smell of carrots to lay its eggs. The classic trick was to plant rows of onions in among the carrots. The strong onion smell helped mask the carrots and confuse the pest. It is a completely safe, free, poison-free way to protect a crop, and it is a perfect example of the common-sense cleverness that ran alongside all the harsh chemicals of the era. Companion planting like this is still widely used and well worth trying. Number 25. Blood, fish, and bone meal. Finally, the all-purpose feed that powered countless gardens, a mixture of dried blood, ground fish, and crushed bone, all byproducts that would otherwise have been wasted. It delivered a slow, steady release of nitrogen, phosphorus, and calcium, feeding hungry crops over a whole season. Gardeners worked it into the soil before planting and swore by the results. The only real caution was keeping pets and foxes from digging after the smell. It is still sold and still excellent, proof that some of the old ways were simply good gardening. So there you have it, 25 of the tricks that fed British families through some lean and hungry years. Some of them, like the nicotine sprays, the mercury dusts, and the arsenic, deserve to stay firmly in the history books. But so many others, the comfrey feed, the grease bands, the soapy spray, the companion planting, and the vegetable clamp, are pure common sense that still works today and costs you next to nothing. That's really the heart of it. Our grandparents grew more food, threw away less, and stretched every penny because they had to. We can borrow the smart parts of that mindset without the danger. This channel is all about exactly that. Simple, common-sense ideas that help you stop wasting things and stretch your money further. We share new tips like these all the time, so if this was useful to you, do hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss one. Your garden and your wallet will thank you. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.